Dave, my pal, how the hell are you?
I am Hell. Hello, Erickson. How you
Hey,
be?
buddy.
How you been for the last
2 weeks.
2 weeks again? We need to stop doing
2 weeks
this. Let's
again.
go regular
Yeah.
again, like Bran.
You- uh, I've been okay. We went through a heat wave in the city
Right?
of Toronto, and work has been busy, and there's been a lot of water all over the place at work. So when you're hot, just wait for a flood to happen.
Do you just run around in that spraying water on by a hydrant like they do on Sesame Street?
It's definitely been like that at times, but anyways, that's not why people are here. They don't want to hear about my stupid day job.
Yeah, they
They
do.
want to be here.
Tell us more.
Everybody that's tuning in to the Omniverse Comics Guide, we are your Omniverse Comics Guide guys. This is an incoming where every month we go through our catalogs, what we see online that's coming out, what's supposed to be coming out, things we've pre-ordered, and we talk about the things we're excited for, as well as recommendations for you if it's something we've read. If you're tuning in on Twitch or YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button, the like button, leave us a review, and share it. It always helps when people share. If you like the show, why not? Share it with someone if you like it.
Yeah, share with someone you love.
Right?
Yeah.
We're nice guys. We're pleasant. We're positive. And more importantly, for all of your comic book fun reading orders, reviews, for all of your comic book resource stuff that you're looking for, omniversecomics.guide.
Can we say comic book
go.
resource? Isn't that like another website?
For all your comic book goods. How about that?
Is that CBG?
Yeah. Whatever.
For all your
comics.guide.
for a whole newsarama, come to Omniverse.
Right. Oh, that's good. Okay. Well, it's October. It's already
Yeah, we're coming up on
I
October,
don't
man.
know where the year has gone.
We ate it, I think. We consumed it and grew large.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that this is the first year of the pod, and it's just flown by.
Yeah.
And we've already done, I think this episode would be a year's worth of episodes if you did it weekly. So
Yeah.
we're ahead of schedule.
We are.
But man, the year has flown by. Let's get into our picks for October incoming, because I feel like, and I don't know about you, but it seems like a very promising and expensive month if you were buying everything that may be on the list. It's the one time where I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I own that already.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's coming out on the same day as this, and it's a pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, do you see my wrestler? I gave it a friend.
What?
That's the British Bulldog.
Ah, is that a little tribute?
That's a tribute, and that guy's Canadian. That's Bret Hart.
Oh, look at that!
I was trying to. There's the British Connect. There's the Canadian Connect. They happen to be brother-in-laws in real life. So
Really?
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
One of the best matches, Wembley Stadium, 1992. I know you won't watch it, but
I'll put it on the list.
Put it on the list. Okay. Speaking of lists, let's get
Nice
into our list.
segue. I feel like I'm going to rob one from you from the get-go. So
Do it.
there's probably enough to pick from this time around. So I've gone straight in for the Peter David, because why the hell not? Captain Marvel, Genis-Vell, Omniverse. No mucking about. I think it's pretty obvious from everything we've been talking about for the last 9 months plus that this is something that's going to get possibly both of us excited, but definitely me. So I've read these issues. I read them when they came out. They're really good fun. I know that he's doing a lot of kind of retroactive series lately, where he's doing stuff set in the past, or it's like the past of the Maestro, or Mr. Fix-It days of the Hulk. There was even a Genis-Vell Captain Marvel miniseries, which I did have to hand, which I have here. So that's kind of, I don't know where that fits yet, but I just got that for my birthday. I'm 27, so yeah. But this collects the 2 original series he did, largely with Chris Cross as artist. Now, it's 1,400 pages, which is a beast of a thing. It kind of spins out of Avengers Forever. So if you're a fan of Avengers Forever, and I'm like, who isn't, frankly, that's a great book. And it essentially sets up this new dynamic for both Rick Jones, perennial sidekick Rick Jones, and Genis-Vell, the son of the original Captain Marvel. So he was a bit of a joke character. He first appeared in Silver Surfer Annual number 5, I think. as Legacy, and then he looked a lot like Havoc, and there wasn't really a defined. I think he was mostly a drunk, and then he got his own miniseries. No one cared, and then he appeared in Avengers Forever, and then he got 2 decent runs, and this book collects both. It doesn't tend to cross over much, so it's a fairly straight run. So it's issues 0 to 35, Volume 1 that started in 1999, and Captain Marvel 2002 series 1 to 25, and it's essentially complete. It would be nice, seeing as they just released this, if they'd included it, but it's 1,400 pages. Get over it.
Was on my list. Blind buy. I'm buying it off of the strength of it spinning out of Avengers Forever. Peter David.
Yeah.
A lot of hidden gem sort of talk about it through many other podcasts, and like just people saying, that Genis-Vell series, that that Captain Marvel, where it's like this uncollected hidden gem. Like that's how sort of, I don't want to say disrespected, but it wasn't being given its just due.
It was essentially cancelled, and it had to fight for the right to carry on, and it was up against Marvel by Bill Jemas, which was dog balls, and then there were I think it was Ultimate Adventures, which was a bit of a random Ultimate series. It wasn't really based on anything Marvel. It was based on Batman and Robin. Very odd. And I'm not sure if there was a 4th, and now I can't think. But it won, and it got its own series, and Marvel got its own series because Bill Jemas was in charge, so why wouldn't he give himself his own series? And so it had another shot, and it was great, but it's never one of those big sellers, because like Captain Marvel, for all intents and purposes, isn't a flagship character.
No.
In any incarnation.
Right?
Yeah.
It's true. But in the case of this one, I've only heard good things about it. I'm not sure how new reader friendly it is, or if, like having so there you go. Like I said, I'm going in blind, and because it's a cover to cover complete kind of story from Peter David, who is known to be able to stretch out his plots and make things all add up and count for something.
Yes.
And whether it's short form or long form. This is worthy of the omnibus treatment. I'm so happy. It's a first day read for me. As soon as it comes,
brilliant.
I'm reading it.
I would like to do the same. So if I have time, I will. I will say another thing as well, like where people make a lot of comparisons between the Marvel Universe in the comics and the one in the films, and about how funny everything's a comedy. This is essentially, at least for the first series, a comedy, and it is funny. Peter David is a funny guy, and there are some very, very funny moments in this series. So it's a really upbeat series, at least for the first half. Second half is a little darker, at least at the beginning, but it's really entertaining and highly underrated.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm happy that things like this are getting their just due. It makes you hopeful for like other things. Like on a tangent, I saw that, I didn't realize, I'm sure you know already, but Gail Simone's Secret Six, that omnibus, like I saw it pop up and with the release date, and I'm like, that's stuff that we talked about for a while. I think I've listed it a couple times.
That was totally us.
So, I mean, absolutely, but I mean that's not what this is about. Not about us.
Well, a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy you listed it. I would have listed it first if you didn't. Okay, so Genis-Vell, we got it. I'm gonna go with one I think you've already own for sure. It's a missing piece in my, I guess, X-Men family collection. John Byrne, Alpha Flight. Never read it. Always kind of felt like, again, it was one of those hidden gems, niche, sort of like if you like it, you like it. But I feel like, for me, I've been a long time John Byrne fan. I like enough of the Guardians of the Galaxies and B teams, if you will, that I feel like, again, kind of like the Genis-Vell series, always good things to say about this era of John Byrne. Early in his sort of solo writing artist, this is, I think, his first attempt at it. My initial...
No, it's slightly later. Fantastic Four was first. I've just remembered because they crossover slightly.
Okay. Yeah, I used to only get things in an omnibus form if it was something I really, really loved already. Whereas now I'm finding things like, let me get something to read, because it'll probably be the best way to do it if you want to.
Yeah.
Right. And Alpha Flight is one of those, I think, evergreen. It's always going to be in print.
It does seem to be. This is the second printing for this one, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
And it is It's a funny one as well, really, because like his opinion of his own work, weirdly, I think, as much as he tends to storm out of things, he actually did a switch with Mantlo and Mignola on Incredible Hulk at the end of this, because he felt like he wasn't telling particularly great stories. So that's how he ended up doing his Hulk run in the mid-'80s after Alpha Flight. He just went, I don't know if this is going anywhere. Do you want to swap? So Mignola and Bill Mantlo came over from Incredible Hulk, and I think Mantlo had been on there for quite some time at that point. They came over, took over Alpha Flight, and then they added the X-Men into an issue, and Lady Deathstrike was in there. But I actually think he didn't do himself justice. So this is the actual Omni. It's beef. I'm assuming it will still be beef. I don't know if they're printing on lighter stock, but upping the price. Yeah,
How many pages is that? It's like a 30 issue or so, right? In between 30 issues.
It is. It's 1,248 pages. It's a big one. But you also get the X-Men appearances. There's some Incredible Hulk appearances, a Machine Man issue, Marvel 2-in-1 appearances, and then you get the X-Men Alpha Flight 2-issue Asgardian Wars, kind of one half of that event. An X-Men Alpha Flight, the later one, the kind of untold story, an untold tale, and a Marvel team-up annual. So you get a lot. And it's nice that they've done that, because, I mean, this is a completist's omnibus. They pretty much give you everything, which is nice. I like that. I don't really understand people going, I just want the key stuff that's good. It's like, just get everything.
Because you're greedy, Dave. You just want it all.
Yeah? What's wrong with that? I'm British. We're empirical.
I've never read it. Another one that's going off of reputation and kind of I don't know how to describe it, but like an evergreen title that's like, read it.
Yeah.
You'll most likely enjoy it if you like John Byrne.
You will. If you like John Byrne, you will. It's very unusual. The pacing is very unusual for a team book as well, so it's nice. It's a nice read.
No, cool. I'm excited. Yeah.
Lovely.
Hi. Back to you, sir.
Okay, so this is what I'm not getting because I've got it in a different format. This was released as a 2-volume Martini edition set from IDW.
Martini edition.
The Martini edition. So these are possibly some of the biggest hardcovers I own.
Hello.
Hello, sir. I could just do that.
Yes, you walked into my office like butter dripping up a hot biscuit.
So yeah, this is Parker, the Martini editions. They're based on the Richard Stark novels, but they're in comic form, and they're by Darwyn Cooke. If you are a Darwyn Cooke fan, well done, you're right. If you don't know Darwyn Cooke, treat yourself. It's not his normal style, so it's a very retro style. Funnily enough, it came up in the Des Taylor episode recently, which is why I'm showing Volume 2 more than Volume 1. But the style is super retro. Now, oh, wow, very retro. So yeah, it looks, not used to this new camera thing. It looks very pared down and it's very simple colouring, but it's undeniably Darwyn Cooke. I may not be getting some of his best pages here, to be honest.
It's okay.
But it's Darwyn Cooke. Like, he's got that retro style. He worked on the Batman animated series. The man was pure talent. It's lovely stuff. It's just not what you expect of 4-color comics. But it's the novels adapted into comic form. Now they're doing Parker, the Complete Collection by Darwyn Cooke, and it's just the Darwyn Cooke stories from those 2 books in one paperback. It's out on October the 17th, for now. 520 pages.
Nice. You know, really happy that I got a chance to meet him.
Oh, I keep forgetting.
At a con. Yeah, he signed a couple of books for me. Really nice guy. Really happy to take a picture with the fans. Yeah, a real shame to have lost him. What a talent! And it's just his work. It's so simple and yet such a joy to look at. It evokes emotion.
It really does.
It's one of those artists that can make you feel time because of the way he draws. Like in New Frontier, you'll never question whether or not this is a modern day version or story. It's an intangible that I don't know if some people just got it. They got something different.
They have, and like it's the simplicity of it as well. It doesn't feel like dumbed down. It doesn't feel cartoony, though it kind of in a way is. But so when I was talking to Des Taylor about it, the Martini edition was his choice. like it was his for a beautiful book. I think I referred to it then as like a retro modern style because it does look like it's from that past time, but it's designed and shot like it's happening now. So it feels very current, but it's undeniably set in a certain time. He just nails it.
Again, he doesn't have the bibliography of how many things he's worked on for extended periods of time, but the things that you do encounter that he's worked on, it's such a joy.
Yeah, pure joy.
Yeah. Nice pick.
Thank you.
Good one. Might look into that now. Wasn't on my radar. Okay. Next on my list that is pre-ordered because as soon as it was announced, I needed it to complete the set, and that's Jason Aaron's Thor, Volume 2. Loved it when I read it the first time, and yeah, let's finish this epic. Incredible amount of time on a character that there's so much story to tell, but sometimes you realize where artists can run into a wall where maybe Thor isn't interesting, and when somebody gets them that world right, it's a pretty impressive feat, I feel.
Because have you read that far? Have you read into as far as Volume 2? Or is this going to be your first time?
No, I've read up until I think there was maybe one more miniseries, King Thor. I don't think I ever read King Thor.
No, I haven't either.
But I've read War of the Realms.
Oh, you
What
have?
Happens? Yeah, I've read all the way up to there. I've read all of the Mike Del Mundo run. Yeah, I've read the majority. I don't think I've read the final scenes of the whole series, but it kind of was something where you're just like, okay, this may never end. You knew it was going to come to an end, but you kind of like, I get it. I know what happens, basically, right? And it was a lot of fun, and I don't remember it all. I remember highlights.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot because they're two like 1,500 page omnis.
Yeah, you're on an epic journey with this.
Yeah, no, very much so. Just to clarify what is in it, I mean, it's a heck of a list. Like, so it's the 2015 Mighty Thor series with 13 to 23, issue 700 to 706, Unworthy Thor 5-issue mini, Generations Unworthy Thor, and Mighty Thor one shot, Mighty Thor at the Gates of Valhalla, Thor 1 to 16, War of the Realms 1 to 6, King Thor 1 to 4. There's so much in that book.
King Thor. That's where I don't think I've read that, but everything else I did, and it was, man. I feel like, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it becomes when a writer gets the opportunity to have as long on a book? They started off strong, but they've got some more in the tank. The fact that they got the time to tell it, like the run will be has benefits from it, or is it more impressive that you've got that much story to tell? Well,
it just depends. I mean, sometimes something can go on forever and have dips, and
yes.
But the thing is, if it dips, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's like with God, I'm trying to think of something that does that. I think like Batman Eternal. I think I was saying much the same about it. It's like it's a 52 issue series, I think. But the dips are like, this is okay, like it's good. But when it's good again, it's really good, and then it sort of it might dip again. So like as long as it doesn't get bad or become a chore, then I'm happy to read it. If something's entertaining, then and it deserves a place on the shelf just for that, it doesn't have to all be gold. So
yeah,
and that I love it when a writer gets hold of a character for a long time, and then you do get those payoffs later that aren't necessarily the same as when someone else does it. You know, sometimes, not all the time.
I'm trying to think, what are some other examples, modern examples of somebody having that long to work with a character? Was it almost 10 years? Close to? That's pretty impressive.
It's something around that. I don't know.
Because it was after AVX, right? AVX all the way until even past Secret Wars.
Marvel Now, I think, when they did the Marvel Now relaunches, but I can't remember what year that is. But it's approaching a decade at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe
Great run.
8 years, 10
If you've
years.
never read a Thor series, trying out the Jason Aaron Thor is definitely a fun place to start, and it may make you resent the movie. If you don't already resent it, maybe you like it.
Who doesn't?
Highest recommendation. Your number 3, take it away.
So my number 3 is probably a bit of a surprise, unusual choice for me. It is another Omni. I realise I've I've chosen 3 things with omnibus in the title this time around.
It's what's coming.
It's what's coming, and there are some
Yeah.
big ones coming. So the reason why this is a surprise, like, I'm openly not the biggest Neil Gaiman fan, just as much as I'm not the biggest Alan Moore fan. Oh, I should be more loyal to my fellow countrymen, but I'm not. So this is a spin-off from the Sandman, and weirdly, I'm more drawn to the Sandman spin-offs than I am to the Sandman itself. So they've recently, over the last couple of years, they've released Lucifer Volumes 1 and 2 as Omnis. They've released the Books of Magic in 3 volumes in omnibus format. These are beautiful books. Really lovely books. They're now releasing, well, in October, Dead Boy Detectives Omnibus. It's the complete lot, the whole damn thing in one book. Recently, they did I think it was the 12-issue miniseries as a deluxe edition. And then literally within 3 months, they're doing this. And it's like, why? Stop doing that. So... And there may well be people who are happy for just that bit, but I kind of feel like you do it the other way around. Do the big chunker, and then if people go, I don't want a chunker, I want the littler stuff, then do the littler stuff. But it's just, it's a bit confusing when they do this. So it's Dead Boy Detectives 1 to 12, Sandman Presents Dead Boy Detectives 1 to 4, Sandman 25, which I think introduces the characters. Could be wrong. And then the Children's Crusades crossover event from the annuals. It includes Doom Patrol Annual, number 2, Swamp Thing Annual 7. Time Warp number 1. This isn't something I know masses about. I'm drawn to this stuff, and I want, I want to put a reading order together that explains how it all fits together. I'm gonna hate myself later, if not, well, more so. So yeah, I just want to read it. But the things, you look at the talent on this book. There's some Neil Gaiman guy, but on top of that, there's Mark Buckingham, Jill Thompson, Ed Brubaker, Brian Talbot. Like, we're not talking like random. I mean, there's nothing wrong with random creators. There's a couple of names I don't recognize. I'm kind of like, I don't know them, but like, it's Vertigo at its peak. Odds are it's gonna be some good stuff in there, and I'm really intrigued. So basically, the premise, as far as I understand it, is it's 2 schoolboy detectives who are the greatest detectives in England. But they're not the best living detectives in England because they're dead. So I guess it's kind of ghost solving crimes. I mean, that's a win for me. It's a genre mashup. I love a genre mashup. So
why not?
Yeah, and I love a mystery, and it's riddled with them. So I'll take that, please and thank you. Cheers, Mr. Gaiman. I mean, it's 766 pages, so it's a fair size book. I want to get into it.
They're really putting everything out there.
Yeah.
Like, there's no stone being left unturned, which is good.
It's brilliant.
It's hard. You're gonna have to buy a bigger home, but man, it's exciting time to know that you can get your favorite thing eventually will come.
Yeah.
Just stay tuned.
Yeah,
stay tuned.
More than likely. Come on, Death's Head, you can do it. We started the digital downloads, digital download versions of the reading orders, so you can get the reading orders on the website. If you're a subscriber, they're basically all yours. Every time we add a reading order, especially sizable ones, you can get the reading order as a PDF. You can whack it on your phone, and as you read through with the Omniverse, all snuggled up to you by the fire, touching appropriately with consent, you can tick off the issues as you go. So it's just an easy guide. If you aren't signed up to the Omniverse, for shame, you can download them individually. But it's obviously adds up more. If you just sign up and support us, then you can just get them all. Why can't you just have everything?
Why not?
Have
Just
it all.
go for it.
Have it all. So yeah, that's available now. A lot of the stuff that you've seen us talk about, like the Hulk reading orders, people are downloading them already, which is lovely. You're welcome. On top of that, recent episodes we've had, our X-Men is edited and up. Yeah, bring on the bad guys, concentrating on 10 X-Men villain stories. Don't forget, we are available on podcasts if you want to listen to us on there and not have to look at our faces. A big one for this week as well was the first of a 2-part Batman Origins reading order. So it's the stories between year 1 and the Legends event from 1986-87. Loads of people want to start Batman from the beginning, but it's difficult because you go like, well, year 1 and then maybe Long Halloween. But there's loads of other stuff in there that gets missed. Yeah.
Thank you, Dave, for all your hard work and your reading orders, and I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who will enjoy and benefit from the expert reading list that you put together. Probably the best that you can find because you're
Anal.
yeah, they make the best stuff, right?
Well, yeah.
They make the best
Anuses
shit.
make the best shit. Is that what you're saying? Lovely.
I'm going to go with something that I pre-ordered a long time ago at a comic book shop in Toronto, the Silver Snail. And for some reason, so I asked them for it. I go, this is the book. I didn't say a publisher. I just said the name.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they ordered me instead was a book of the same title from a DC miniseries. I'm going to bury the lead. The book is Telos.
Oh.
Mike Wieringo and Todd DeZago. I've never read this. I was always tempted because of the artwork, the brightness of it, the sense of adventure that you flip through those pages and anthropomorphic characters give you, right? It just looks like a sword and sorcery type of story, but with cartoon characters. Just Mike Wieringo's work. Again, one of those artists who make you feel happy when you look at their
completely.
stuff. And I've never read it. I have no idea if it's any good.
Same.
I want it.
Yes.
I finally want to own this book, hold it in my hands, and just flip through those pages first, and then read the story, see if it's any good.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I'm going to love looking at the pictures.
Oh, absolutely. There is just something, again, utterly joyful about Wieringo. Like, it's such a weird thing. I think that was partly like when we lost him. And it seemed
Again,
like
another artist that like Darwyn Cooke, gone too soon.
Gone way too soon.
Give you all of the feels in the artwork. It's so interesting that we bring them both up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've been waiting for this for a while. I didn't know it had been released as a hardcover a while back. Like I think it was a massively oversized hardcover.
I don't
know
that
if
one.
this is. I don't know if this is like a smaller one, but I don't care. Like I'll take any Wieringo I can get.
Don't pass up the opportunity if you can get your hands on this book. Mike Wieringo, worth the price of admission, I feel. That's my number 3.
Lovely, thank you. So, dude, my number 4. I want you to guess what it is.
Man, there's a couple here that I know that you'll be getting. It's either something related to Mike Mignola or something related to Jeff Lemire. Those are my picks.
Okay, interesting choices, but not the best detective work. That's right, sir. It's Detective Chimp.
I should have known. I remember seeing that, and I said, "Oh my! I know one person who really desperately wants this."
That's right.
And
I'm the one they're
and I
printing
just
it
thought
for.
of you.
There's one copy, and it's mine.
That one, I will say, is because of us.
That's
I don't
probably
think
true.
Anybody else would wax rhapsodic about Detective Chimp the way you did that time.
It was, do you know what though? Since then, so I posted something about the upcoming Justice League Dark Rebirth omnibus for next year.
Right.
I ended up talking to. I didn't realize at first because I'm an idiot. So I ended up talking to OmniDog from YouTube. Yeah. I was talking to him. We were both going, they need to do a figure of Detective Chimp. He's like, well, he said that first. I'm like, yeah, like. So we're both just on there going like, Detective Chimp, man, he's the greatest. It was such a random moment.
It's crazy. And then I was looking through I'm like, are they really making this? They're making it for Dave. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
They are. They're making it for me and OmniDog, and we're both going to be very happy together.
Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
You did it. You got it.
Got it made.
Have you read any of this stuff?
No. Well, this is what I've got, this weird thing at the moment, but I'm going to see a doctor about it, and I'm really hoping it clears up because, man, hey, enough about that. So as for this book, it seems to collect a lot of the really old. I can't see any years on it, but it's like I think his first appearance was The Adventures of Rex the Wonder Dog #4, which I think is a 50s comic. So this is old school stuff. Some of it's really old school stuff. Some of it's less old school. So there's that Amazing World of DC Comics. I don't know when that's from. DC Comics Presents 35, and I think that was like 70s, late 60s or something. DC Special #1, don't know. Tarzan 231, really random issues, but I think he's in like backup stories and stuff. It's not even a front cover role. So yeah, they're just reprinting really old school stories with Detective Chimp, and I've got a really weird fascination with pre-crisis DC at the moment. So there's been a few things I've picked up that I've just gone like, I just want to read the pre-crisis stuff, and I don't know why. But like I read one, I'm doing a reading order for this. This was a build up to something that we'll talk about after the show. So I'm reading a Superman story at the moment, and it's the story that introduces Lex Luthor's green armor, like the war suit, first time. And in the story, he gets the crap kicked out of him by Superman, basically, and he goes, right, bastard, I'm off. And he goes off to his escape planet, Lexor, where his wife is, because he's married to an alien princess. And he finds out she had a son, and he's about 4 or 3 or 2 or whatever. And he only goes there like every couple of years. She's like, it doesn't matter, I love you so much. And everyone on Lexor loves him. It's like, what is going on? Why did they do Crisis? Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. But I kind of really like it because it's so strange. So I'm dipping into stuff like...
things can... How the older stuff rears its head back, and at the right time it makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think it's when you're, I don't know, I like looking out for stuff that's not overcomplicating things or worried about continuity or trying to be that much darker. Or sometimes I just want to go, why did we love comics in the first place? Like, this stuff survived the 50s, 60s, 70s. We know about the 80s stuff, but there's decades of stuff in there. It can't be that bad, can it? And some of it is just pure silliness and fun. So,
I'm happy for you. Yeah, you need to get a hat.
I will get the hat. It looks like it's a hardcover. It's 276 pages. I think it's probably standard size hardcover. And when it arrives, you need to leave me alone for a week. The rest of the world. Thank you. Not for that reason. Jeez, brain.
Good pick. It's a sleeper.
Is it a sleeper?
It's a sleeper hit. Yeah, because there's definitely people who want stuff like that. Like I'm kidding about the fact you're the one person, because they're printing it for a reason, right?
Yeah, it's got a Brian Bolland cover with Detective Chimp on the front, like going. And why am I doing his face? I'm not doing his face. Shut up, Dave. There'll be people out there who want this. It's
it's cool.
Yeah,
this is cool. This is when the collector market, you have a little fun when you're a long-term. This is for the long-term collector, right?
Yeah.
Someone who wants those little niche things that
little monkey
nuggets.
Really
like this character. Yeah, there you go.
So, okay. Dude, what do you got? Is it better than Detective Chimp? I think we should just stop here.
You should have saved that for your last one.
I should have done.
I'm gonna go with another thing that I haven't read. But the description of it, for some reason right now, I wouldn't have ever wanted to read this before. But reading the description to the iZombie Omnibus.
Oh, yes.
Have you read iZombie?
I loved it.
Maybe that's where I heard the praises for it, for me to be like, let me keep an eye out for it. Because I'm not a zombie fan. I don't really care for horror. It's not my cup of tea necessarily.
It isn't that, though. I think that's what's kind of fun about it. It's part comedy, part like romance thing. It's not a... She's kind of a zombie. It's just not what you expect, which is what's brilliant about it.
Yeah, and it sounds brilliant because it's a person not trying to become full zombie, but in order to do that, they have to eat somebody's brain every month. Once a month, you got to do this. But in the process of doing that, Gwen Dillon, the main character, gets the memories and thoughts of that person. And she feels compelled to fulfill their final requests.
That's great.
You want to know what the heck is going on?
Yes, you do. It's lovely.
You want what? Yeah, like it's a perfect elevator pitch. And I was sold.
It's a fantastic choice. I'm really glad you mentioned it because I somehow didn't spot it. And I'm just because I've got it doesn't mean I wouldn't mention it because I love it. So it's Chris Roberson who writes with Mike Mignola on a lot of the Hellboy universe stuff. But it's him and Mike Allred, and Mike Allred's art on this. It's not the usual Mike Allred. Even it's got a different vibe to it, and together it's just a really upbeat, lovely Vertigo series. I love it. 28 issues, 656 pages. It's a winner.
Yeah, it's again. The artist on this book is another one of those very unique, immediately recognizable style, simple, but you get into the mind frame of what that book needs you to, where it needs you to be mentally.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting month, interesting collections that are coming out, and the type of artists that are popping into our heads thinking about it. Very cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't read it. So tell us, Genis-Vell, Alpha Flight, these are all kind of blind buys for me. But I'm excited to read. I'm
Really
probably
great
most
stuff
excited for iZombie.
Oh, good.
So far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to read it again. I'm desperate to read it again.
Yeah.
So
it
I
sounds
highly
good.
recommend it. Excellent choice,
really
man.
Good. All right. Your number 5,
Okay.
Cinco?
Oh, my number 5 is tricky because I'm torn between two, but I'll mention the other one anyway in short form, perhaps later.
Okay.
My number 5 is Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus from Ed Piskor.
It's coming out in October?
It's coming out in October. Now, in terms of...
I pre-ordered this. Thank you for listing it. I didn't know it was coming out in October. Oh, man.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. You're in so much trouble.
Work some overtime. But I was always tempted to buy this because I'm like, you should own a comic book about hip-hop, Eric. Like, especially when there's a series. This isn't like a one-off, see how it does. It's a...
Was it 4 volumes? Oh, it was 3.
I think 3, but I was really excited when it was listed as an Omni because, yeah, again, Ed Piskor, a guy who captures that.
I'm Ed Piskor.
The feeling. Again, another one of those artists who, I mean, all artists do that. They're all supposed to evoke emotion, but they capture time. They add a certain other element to your reading experience, and the way that he draws his X-Men grand finales or whatever sort of thing he puts together for either Marvel or his own stuff, you get the feel of when it first came out, what the kids felt like reading it in his art style.
Yeah.
It transports you to that time. And the stuff in this hip-hop book very much makes you feel like you're watching old videotape.
Nice.
Of footage, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it, but it makes you feel that way.
I bought my friend Volume 1, who doesn't normally read comics, but he's massively into hip hop. And I just had to flick through it and just went, shit, now I need this. Like, I need this. And I thought, like, I always intended getting it. Because I've watched a couple of history of hip hop documentaries, and it's just fascinating to me, and it got me listening to certain stuff.
Have you watched Hip Hop Evolution?
Was it that one? There was one particular one I've seen twice, but now I can't remember the name of it.
There's one on Netflix called Hip Hop Evolution, and it's like it goes through certain decades. So they've done like 3 seasons, and they take it not necessarily in order, but in sort of region to region. Certain parts of it are in order, but also like eras. They capture an era of when this was happening.
When was it made?
And it's like I'm
recent.
going to say 2016-ish.
Oh, okay. No, I watched a much older one then. Yeah, I'll watch that though if it's worth a look.
It's one of the most I would say the most concise, like very. It takes its time, and it also gets a lot of the major players. It's like, wow, you were able to gather all these people to do this. This is legit.
Wow,
it's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, do you know the comedian Russell Peters? Have you heard of him?
I've heard the name.
Guy. He's from Toronto. He is from Toronto actually, but he's internationally known. Does a lot of a cultural sort of comedy.
Right.
So he leans into the Indian family side and stuff. Does a lot of imitations, but he actually produced it.
Oh.
And shout out to Kagan McLeod, who's also a artist from Toronto who did art in some of the episodes where they were like animated little segues.
Yeah.
And I think in the credits, it's his artwork, and he's a huge hip hop fan. So yeah, nice little good pick. Very nice pick. I should have had that on my list because I'm getting it. It's a good month, man.
It is a really good month. Like, there's some exceptional stuff coming, and even when it's stuff you don't know, you know you're going to get some goodness when it turns up on your door.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
This one is going to be monster-size Hellboy.
Excellent.
I've never read any Hellboy. I have it digitally, but I've always wanted to read it in some sort of book format. And there's a number of ways to do it, and I've never really been sold on their omnibus collection format with the 4 books, or this is what I've been waiting for. Big.
It's
very
a
big.
beast.
But it's all the things that are
no.
in the 4
No, I'm wrong.
the box set.
It's the core stories, yeah. Right the way from beginning to end. I was tempted
with that box set too, because it's a beautiful. It comes in a beautiful case, I guess you could say.
I was tempted by the box set, and I've got the library editions. Like, that's how good it was.
Yeah. So again, someone probably listening, how do you do a comic book Omniverse comic guy, and you've never read Hellboy? Like, I admit it, I never read it.
It's one of those things. Where do you start?
That's the other thing too. It just felt too dense for me to know where to jump in on it, and I was just. But that's the beauty of these collected editions and re-releases, and sometimes you're listing old stuff, but old stuff becomes new again in this format, which is fun.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be like, for me, I just finished reading Preacher this year, and someone asked me, "Have you ever heard of this book, Preacher?" Because they know I'm a comic guy at work. I'm like, funny enough, I've read it in omnibus form. What the hell is an omnibus? But right?
They've done stuff where they've gone, you don't have to read everything, but this is the core stuff to get the main story, and you'll be happy, which is brilliant. I think it's such a nice touch. Dark Horse did it as well with, not that you can get it that easily anymore, with Aliens and Predator, where they go like, here's the collected editions that's everything, and here's the collected editions people just going, I don't want everything, I just want the core stuff. So, incidentally, self-plug, if you are looking to start a Hellboy but want to go back to the pre-Hellboy stories where Lobster Johnson and other characters like that come in, Witchfinder, the part 1 of the 3-part Hellboy universe, as we called it, reading order, is available on Omniverse Comics Guide, omniversecomics.guide website. The other 2 parts will be coming soon, so that's one other place you can look as to what order you read Hellboy in. But if you just want to read the core stuff, this book is the perfect choice, especially if you like a beast. It's 1,512 pages.
Yeah. I like, even still, I'm like, is that the way I want to read it? That thing is huge.
Yeah, it's going to be big. What didn't make the 5 for you? Is there anything in particular that almost made it that you want to talk about?
Sure. One of the recommendations would have been Tom Taylor's Deceased. That's being re-released in October. That's just a really good, again, maybe it hits a little too close to home, but it's Trevor Hairsine, who did a lot of work with Valiant Entertainment, who I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
And he did also, I think, the X-Men Deadly Genesis series.
He did. Yes.
So it was him and Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor, like him being able to do DC at his speed or his own pace without worrying about what's happening in regular publishing.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, perfect.
So highly recommend, if you want to read a zombified DC universe, this is really good stuff.
Cool.
Have you read it?
No, I'm holding out for an omnibus for this.
Yeah.
I want the lot.
Yeah.
And Tom Taylor nails this alternate universe stuff, like you say.
He really does.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, again, not a zombie.
Same.
Don't care for horror. But off the strength of the reputation he has from the Injustice, I said, I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
I think I've read it in one sitting, because you're not worried about whether that's going to stay in Batman comics or in Wonder Woman comics. Like, you're not worried about that. You're just reading it like, oh shit, this is happening to these characters. Like, oh, I don't want them to have to go through that. There's like tough choices, right? Because anything can happen. So you're just like, oh no. And it's people being infected by a virus.
Yeah.
Which we all have natural either irritation or fear about.
Yes, we do.
Because right? So it hits home. So yeah, highly recommend that. Black Hammer 3, like we whispered. And then stuff that maybe just kind of piqued my curiosity, Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh.
And a book named Bad Karma. The way that it looked and kind of
was that presented. Next month? Oh crap. Is that Alex DeCampi?
Yes.
Yeah, I want that. I thought it was out later. Okay, that's moved around. Damn.
I want that.
Oh,
I want it all. Yeah, that was it. I put Super Sons on the list, but again, that's one that I own and I haven't read, so I saved it as an alternate.
It's like the third time they've released it as well, but again they've added more issues. So like the first time it was like this many, and then the second time it was more, and now it's more. So this is the super duper edition.
Too.
Well, yeah, I guess they can justify it with the page count expanding in theory, but I think they could have just done the first omnibus and then waited and followed it up with a second. Because that's the problem. Then you need to sell your first one.
But I guess if their thing is,
they do deluxes as well, don't they?
Right. I guess if they're gonna reprint certain omnibuses that are big wins, I guess for a reading demographic where both the longtime Superman fans read this, and this is great for kids. Keep this in print. Every time they bring it back out in print, they're like, add these issues because those dumb idiots that are in their mid 40s and 30s are gonna buy it again.
I can't believe people are doing that.
Right? So yeah, I've fallen for it before.
Yeah, I'm doing it a lot lately.
But how about you?
I mean, there's a few in there. Daniel Friedman was talking about Pop Scars from Behemoth. I don't know if he knows the people working on it, but that looks like a very random neon vigilante series that looks like it's potentially going to be quite dark. Dark Horse also releasing Clear, which is a miniseries by Scott Snyder and Francis Manapul. It's Manapul's art looks amazing on it. Critical Role, the Mighty Nine Origins Library Edition is coming out, and they're really nice. The other one from Dark Horse was Hans Vogel is Dead, Volume 1. I don't know, like I mentioned, I think this previously, I love stuff where it announces the character's dead before you even start reading it. Don't know why. So I'm drawn to that. The art looks nice too, so I'm going to give that a shot. From DC, we've got DC Horror presents Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, which is co-written, I can't remember who's writing with, but Bruce Campbell of Evil Dead fame. But Sergeant Rock versus zombies, basically. And covers by Gary Frank, and there's like an undead Hitler in it. I'm going to try that in some form, when, but I'm not planning on picking it up. Nice House on the Lake from James Tynion. Apparently that series is really good. I say that with some surprise, sorry. I'm not a big fan of the horror stuff. That's just not my area, but I'm intrigued. Another horror book from IDW, 30 Days of Night Deluxe Edition. I want to give that another shot because I loved the film. I really loved the film 30 Days of Night. Like the way they shot it, the way there's no soundtrack. It's silent all the way through. It's just the atmosphere and the voices and everyone's trying to be quiet. It's such a good film. So I'm going to give that another go, and this is a great way to do it. Dungeons & Dragons Knights of Endless Adventure. It's the second half of the Jim Zub D&D comics. And I wasn't massively into D&D, when reading this. I just wanted some fun adventure stuff, and they're really good, but they're funny. They're really entertaining. So it's the second 3 minis, 6-issue minis in one book. Image have got Moonshine, the complete collection by Azzarello and Russo, the team for 100 Bullets. But I think it's about prohibition and werewolves, basically. Parasocial is also coming out from Alex de Campi in October. But again, I don't know a huge amount about it, which is why I didn't mention it. Marvel, the one that nearly won it for me was the Ghost Rider Danny Ketch Epic Collection Vengeance Reborn. There's the title. So that's the 90s relaunch of Ghost Rider. But I'm still hanging in for an omnibus. On an omnibus. There's so much 90s Ghost Rider.
Just like your Detective Chimp was made, they'll do that Ghost Rider for you.
Oh, I hope so. The last one for fans of Ram V, These Savage Shores Definitive Edition from Vault. If you're a fan of his writing, that's one of his, I think it's like his first or second series he wrote. So, and it won loads of praise when it came out. So there you go pick it up.
Nice, very nice. All right, well, October will be interesting.
Yeah,
what we actually can afford to get. But,
we run out of cash before it all finishes coming out.
Yeah, I might have to delay a couple things, but anyways, it's going to be good. And there's a couple of things on that list that I definitely want to read in time to perhaps talk about on our year end.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I've been reading kind of with that frame of mind lately, hoping to sneak as many 2023 releases in. Because you know me, I'll cheat those lists.
I know. Do you? Really? Do you know what I think is going to be on there? No, I'm not going to.
A hidden gem, perhaps?
Maybe.
No, Maybe.
Oh, do you know, there's been a few I've picked up and read for 2023 thinking, oh, it'd be nice to get some different, and some of them are winners and some of them aren't, but like it's kind of, it's making me quite hyped for reading a lot of the stuff that is coming out, especially new stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I want to find those gems.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next season. It's going to be good stuff. That fourth quarter. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, don't forget to go to omniversecomics.guide for all of your Omniverse Comics good stuff. Reading orders, reading reviews, podcasts, videos, shorts, some videos that Dave makes featuring books that are being released, like the stuff that we talk about today.
Yeah.
Perhaps there'll be videos for those too.
Yeah.
Keep on the lookout. Omniversecomics.guide. And on your podcast platforms, if you're listening to us in your car, driving home, be careful, buckle up, and don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Share the pod.
Share the love.
All right, everybody. Dave, as always, my friend, bid you adieu. See you soon.
Peace out, Data.
All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for listening.